I am so excited for this one. This is a 1989 Holden Commodore. This is the second day I've had this car in the shed, and yesterday I posted up some TikToks and photos about it on Instagram and everything, and the response to this car has been absolutely enormous. So roughly 130,000 views across my channels just on this car. And let me show you why. Now, we all know that a lot of VNs were made around 215,000. And so you would think that VNs are just absolutely everywhere and they're so common. But I don't think that's the case. That definitely was the case. But these cars are 35, 36 years old now. So for one to have survived in as good condition as this one, it has had to endure 30 years roughly of being worth nothing. It has escaped P-platers, it has escaped daily driver duties, it has escaped being a paddock basher, it has escaped just being wrecked just because it's cheap. It has escaped all of those things, and that is why I am so excited about it. And that's why I think the online community has had such a strong reaction to this, because this thing is in fantastic condition. Yes, it's an auto V6, but wait till I show you around this car. I can't stop smiling about it. It is just such a good one. So this car has 155,000 kilometers, and that is wild. Now, when I say those kilometers, a lot of these cars, it's very, very easy to wind back the clock and just screw in another cluster. But in my experience, you can usually tell immediately whether they're genuine or not. And I really feel in this case, they are genuine. First of all, the body. Yes, there are some very small, minor little dings and scratches around the car, but overall, it's fantastic. There is no major dents, there's no major scratches, there's nothing. It is, honestly, it is a very good condition. Another thing that I love is these original hubcaps. They've been affectionately known as the pizza hubcaps, and I love the fact that they're still on here. This thing has had one modification. It has been very slightly lower, but not too much. As you can see, compared to the red VN next to it, it's only been lowered a touch. I have driven a lot of VN and VSs over the years. I've never been in an honest VN, and this is an honest VN. So I'm so excited about this car. But where it really shows its kilometers is in here. This is where it gets crazy. The one thing it's had done is the steering wheel's being restored. And the only other downside of the interior is the little cigarette tray has a chip out of it. However, that happens to just about every VN. If you know these cars, you know that when you drive them, they all make all of these phantom noises and plastic groaning and stuff. And this one does none of that. And I have never been in a VN that does that. I've never experienced that before. Not only that, but all of the panel gaps between the plastic are borderline perfect. The surround around the radio sits perfectly. The radio works, the air conditioning works, everything works. One of the reasons I think that I'm falling for this car is that it transports me back to my P-plate days, and my VN wasn't in as good condition as this. I had one of these and it was a manual, and I absolutely love that car, and like most people, I sold it for peanuts. Now, it is a V6. Now, a lot of people will be thinking, Deacon, why are you so excited about a V6? And I sort of understand their perspective, especially when I've got a very tidy 5-litre VN just over there. But like I said earlier in the video, it is so hard to find these in good condition now. Because they're so hard to find in original condition, I think the V6 should stay in there. And it's a great runner as well. I'll show you. As you can tell, it runs really well. And not only that, but it's been here for 3 days now. Has not leaked a drop of oil, nothing. And I certainly have never had a VN that's like that. So you join me a little bit away from the shed, and what we're gonna do is take this for a drive. And if you're familiar with these cars, you're gonna know straight away what I'm talking about when I say that this VN is different. So start her up. Everything in here works. The heater works, all the lights work, everything works. The radio, which I can't show you obviously because it's on YouTube, but I'll just give you a quick. It does work. If you are familiar with these cars, you know that sometimes it's like driving a haunted house. There is plastic, there is creaking and plastic and shaking and noise, and there's none of that. Shaking that's actually happening is coming from my camera mount not from the car, I can promise you that, because it is like driving a couch. This thing is so comfortable, it is so quiet, and as you can hear, there is no plastic rattling, there's no plastic shaking, there's none of that. And if you have driven a VN, you know how rare that is. And the reason why that's so crazy is that this doesn't feel like a VN. I'm driving a normal car that looks like one. So I love the stock exhaust, I love just the original feeling of this thing. I wouldn't even lower it. I just love the way it is right now. If you guys have watched my videos before, you might have seen that I have a red VN 5 litre 5-speed, and that is a fun car to drive, and it is much funner to drive than this, but it's not honest. This one is a nice comfortable cruiser. It's nice and quiet. I can talk in a normal voice. It uses very little fuel, and while the van is fun to drive, it's not a relaxing car to drive. It's a big cam, it's manual, and it's sluggish to drive in car park and in traffic, where this, you don't have any of those problems. And I am really enjoying the opportunity to drive this thing, and I really hope that it works out and that this will be in my shed. So what's the story with this car and why is it in my shed? Well, at the time of filming this is not my car. A follower has very kindly lent it to me before he sells it. Stars align, this VN will be mine. I would love to own this thing. However, who knows what's going to happen. If it was to be mine, what would I do with it? Well, I wouldn't change the way that it looks. I love the way that it looks. I love the way that it's slightly lowered. I love everything about the exterior of it, and I really wouldn't change anything. In terms of the interior, there are a few little things that I'd like to fix, like the seatbelt buckles are faded. There's a cracked speaker grille. But that's really it. It still has its original key, which, I mean, again, 35 years old, it still has its original key, which is very, very cool. And it even still has the restrictor in the intake that almost everybody takes off the second they get these. So it is, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Regardless of whether this ends up in my possession or not, it will be here for a while. So if there's anything that you guys want to see, me comparing these two cars, which I think I'm going to do, or anything along those lines, what you want to see out of this old girl, please let me know. And thanks for watching.